we have to be willing to unlearn just about everything that we've learned. Everything we were taught in business school, everything our parents taught us. There's so much has changed now. It's not about being efficient, it's about being human.
This is the vinJones Podcast, Secrets of the Engaged Employee, with Kevin Jones of vinJones.com.
Welcome to another episode of the vinJones Podcast. I have with me today Mark Babbitt, who is the president of Switch and Shift, a blog about social leadership, the CEO of U-Turn, and the author of A World Gone Social. Mark, welcome.
Thank you, Kevin. Great to be here.
Great to have you. Now, your book, when did that come out?
That came out, it's been, in August, it'll be a year. So it's been out a long time now, and it's still going strong. So it's a little bit of an affirmation to have somebody still buying your book a year after it came out.
Excellent. Yes. Very good. So tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us about your background, if you would, and what you do.
Well, so I tend to focus my life on building relationships that we can leverage in a mutual beneficial way. So I actually my first job as an adult was as an engineer, and military trained engineer. Did what every military trained engineer does when they get out. They go to Silicon Valley, and I beat that drum for about 8 years, and then just said, yeah, this isn't for me. I'm not supposed to go to the same cubicle and stare at the same monitor every day.
Sure.
And so I dove into more people-centered endeavors, and that's where I've been ever since. And now that we've seen this huge shift from the industrial age to the social age and the social mindset, not just social media, but everything about social. The active listening and actually collaborating with people rather than dictating. It's really spurred this relationship movement on, and more companies are adapting that versus just being concerned about putting out a widget at a more profitable price. We're actually starting to care about people again. It's a nice thing to see.
That is good. So you mentioned the difference or the opposition of control and caring, really, or actually you said collaboration and control. Can you expound on that a little bit and tell us what you mean by that?
Well, absolutely. Especially us older leaders, we were taught in business school by our parents, by our mentors, that leaders were supposed to be autocratic and decisive and loud and confident, and it was our job to see a problem and fix a problem. And usually that meant, all right, we have a fix. John, you're going to do this. Mary, you're going to do that. Joseph, you're going to focus on this. And we're all going to meet here together when we've all done our little micro tasks. And I'm going to micromanage every step of the way. And when we come back, the problem is going to be fixed. And that's how we were taught to lead. Now, a lot of us kind of morphed away from that, and we let people actually use their brains and their souls to help us figure out problems. But it didn't become a real trend until, starting 5 or 6 years ago. Leaders started saying, you know what? I'm going to get the right people in the right room at the right time, and I'm going to sit down and I'm going to go, hey guys, we got a challenge. What do you got? What are we going to do? Right? And so the conversation went from me to we, and that just made a huge difference in so many companies, so many nonprofits. Even higher education is getting it. And it's refreshing to see.
So what made the switch? Why do we have the switch all of a sudden in the last 5 years to this, and why didn't it happen before, do you think?
I blame the millennials in a good way. in a good way. Millennials gave themselves permission, Kevin, to actually enjoy their work and to want to feel needed.
Imagine that.
And right? Why didn't we think of that? Right?
Exactly.
So the world changed when people didn't just settle for, I have a job, I should be grateful, I just need to pay the bills, I get to go home, turn my brain off, right? Life's not like that anymore. We're all immersed in our work. And work-life balance, no, it's work-life integration at best. And millennials came along and they said, "Yeah, I'm not going to work just for a paycheck. I want to make a difference, and I want to contribute, and I don't want to just be told what to do. I want to be able to say, that could work, but what if we did this?" And then a small idea or a decent idea becomes a big idea or a great idea because of the collaboration. So I think it's our younger generation entering the workforce and now dominating the workforce that's helped make this shift.
So what does social have to do with that shift then?
So social amplifies everything. Period. Right? Good and bad. We've seen.
Right. Sure.
Right? So let's just say that you're one of those autocratic, dictatorial, probably emphasis on the first syllable of that word, leader, that all you do is run your people in the ground. And word gets out. Intern Bridge a few years ago did a survey. They said 94% of millennials will talk about their employee experience on social media. Right? So we have all these vocal people with this digital megaphone that's shouting out the bad, right? Which might affect your employer brand, might affect your ability to attract new talent, certainly affects your ability to attract millennial talent. But if you treat people well, word gets out that you are a damn good company to work for. Right now the talent starts flowing in. Right now the ideas start flowing, the creativity starts flowing. We as my business partner Sean Murphy says, we start to deliberately create an optimistic workplace. Well, who wouldn't want to work somewhere where they actually care about the employees and care about their contribution and their collaboration? So
right.
Social is just the bullhorn. Social is a way for all of us to get the word out on what we're passionate about, and again, good or bad.
The way you described that reminded me of a website, and right off the top, I don't remember what it's called, but it's been around for a long time, where college students can comment on the professors, and how that completely changed the way college students figure out what classes they're going to take.
Right. Well, now take that and multiply it times about 100, because we have Yelp, we have Google reviews, we have Glassdoor.com for employers, right? We have Porch for contractors, Angie's List, right? If we as a business don't treat people well, everybody else is going to hear about it. On the other hand, if we go out of our way to treat people exceptionally well, everybody's going to know it, right? So we can't just get away with being that dictatorial, loud leader. We have to actually think about what we say. We have to actively listen. We have to incorporate the wisdom of the room, or over time, the word's going to get out.
Now, if we're going to hire someone, whether it's millennial or not, there is a new way of really joining a company. It's not the resume and then you go have an interview. Well, I don't want to say it's not, because a lot of companies still do that, to tell you the truth. But there's a lot more to that, to where you said, for example, you could go out and find, okay, who would my manager be? All right, let's see what they're like on social media. Let's say what other people are saying about them. Who am I going to be into? Then, oh my goodness, that's a good thing or that's not a bad thing. That completely changes everything. However, I'm assuming you've seen this as well. I see a lot of managers not taking that into account.
And both. Both.
Yeah.
And don't forget, it goes both ways, right? The employer, trust me, the employer is checking you out on LinkedIn. They're checking you out on Facebook.
Right.
They're checking you out on Twitter. Matter of fact, 94% of recruiters now, the surveys use the word admit. That's such a negative word. I don't like that word. They state that they are using social media to check you out before they even call you for an interview.
Sure.
76% of those say that they have refused to offer an interview to a candidate that on their resume looked like they were a good fit, but then once they went on the social media, they decided they weren't. Right? That's huge.
Yes.
We are pre-screening candidates based on our online presence. Well, candidates are doing the same thing. Candidates are going to Glassdoor, they're going to Indeed, They're going to the company's social media site, and they're deciding before they even accept the interview whether or not they want part of that team or not. And so that's why it's so important that everybody embrace this concept of social leadership, this mindset. You know, when we talk about social, people think Twitter, Facebook, maybe
Right,
LinkedIn,
exactly.
Instagram, Pinterest. That's not the point at all. The point is people want to check you out, and if they can't find you, right? If you're the CEO of a company and you have no social presence at all, maybe you're on LinkedIn, but you haven't actually posted anything new on LinkedIn in months, that pretty much tells them that you're not actively engaged. You're probably not a good listener. You probably are an old school autocratic leader. And they may decide they don't want to work for you even before you have a chance to talk to them.
You mentioned social leadership, and that's kind of it is what the blog Switch and Shift is about, which, by the way, is one of my absolute favorite blogs that I refer to all the time.
Thank you.
It's so many good posts on there. You could every week you can just get a ton of, so all the listeners, for me, go there, Switch and Shift. Anyways, social leadership. Explain more of what a social leader acts like, looks like. What do they do, and how are they different from years past?
Well, I think we talked about one important aspect of it already, and that's the we versus me mentality. You know, and there's so many people talking about this, Simon Manwaring and many others. And it really comes down to, I mean, you hire all these amazing people, you hire the best available talent. Why not take advantage of everything they have to offer? Why not ask them their opinions? Why not, right? Why restrict them with policies and process? You know, the Container Store, Kevin, is way before social came along. They were social, right? They cared about their customers. They cared about their reputation. To this day, they empower every employee to say, look, if you have an upset customer, you do whatever it takes to fix that customer. We will back you. We might talk later about how we might have done it differently, but if that's what you had to do at that moment in time to fix that customer, we got your back, right? And imagine how empowering that is.
So that's almost a anti-policy.
Yes.
If you think about it.
Right, right. And, you know, think about, of course, everybody talks about Zappos now, more now about their holacracy move than anything else. But, you know, in the early days of Zappos, when Zappos was still, you know, Zappos, their social media policy was 6 words. 6 words total. That was it, right? Wow. And everybody else has pages and volumes and 3-ring binders and what you can say and what you can't say. And here, the best customer service team in the world has a 6-word social media policy. It's insane, right? So that's really what it's about: is self-discipline, self-regulation, self-management. Yeah, we're going to mess up once in a while. Yeah, we might have to reel somebody back in once in a while. But people are out there doing good things based on their common sense, based on their talents, and based on the resources they have available to them. And isn't that better than having to run a problem up 13 layers of management to get a yes or a no?
Well, I think that depends on what angle you look at this, because you said self-management, self-control. If I'm playing devil's advocate here, but if we are allowing our employees to do what they feel is best, and our goal is to normally maximize shareholder value, then we don't have control over maximizing shareholder value anymore. I don't want to say hope, because, you know, the term hope is not a strategy, but, you know, so how does a CEO or leader in a company take that and allow self-control and allow self-management, but at the same time have enough control or do they have control over the results?
Well, here's the deal. We've never really had control anyway. I mean, that's
very good. Thank you for saying that.
That is the cold hard fact. We want to have control. We desire to have control. We institute all these crazy policies and employee manuals and everything to give the illusion of control, but people have always done what they want to do anyway, right? Even if it costs them their job, right? Those policies never proved effective. They might have helped us produce that widget at a more effective cost point, but we've never controlled anything. So first and foremost. But I'll tell you the big deal. You asked, what does a social leader look like? There's probably one word to describe a social leader, two words actually, more than any others, and that's trustworthy and trustful. And if you actually hire really good people and you trust them implicitly to do good work, that's empowering. That's liberating. Because now, instead of spending all that crappy time trying to control everybody's actions, trying to control when they clock in, when they clock out, are they taking the right breaks? Are they taking a 42-minute lunch instead of a 30-minute lunch? Instead of worrying about all that unnecessary stuff, you're saying, man, I don't care when you get the work done. Just do good work. Right? I trust you. Just do good work.
Right.
And it's liberating. It's amazing.
You know, I've said in the past that trust is the currency of social. And I've always felt that it's a little weird that if you take an employee and before they become an employee, they graduate from high school, and in high school they're very regulated. Then they go to college, and if you show up to your classes, you show up to your classes. If you don't, you don't, and you don't graduate. And then they go into the workforce, and it's back to where high school was.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
the same, you got to show up on time. There are all the policies, and I thought, why aren't we treating them like adults?
There you go.
And what kind of capacity will we see if we treat them like adults?
Well, here's the I brought up higher education earlier. This is such a huge issue, especially in North American culture, not just the United States, but we see it in Canada also. We beat the creativity out of people that are starting at about 5th grade.
Sure. I agree.
It's all about conformity. It's all about compliance. We don't teach. We teach how to take a test. We teach how to be normal. Right? We don't inspire creativity at all in any aspect of our lives anymore, because that's what it took to have an efficient, well-behaved society.
Sure.
Right? Our favorite word at Switch and Shift is rebellious. We want people to go out of their way to be creative, to be different, to think different, to not get stuck in what we call TWADY, which is that's acronym for that's the way we've always done it, right? But actually try and improve something. And I've been a jerk about this since I was 8. Ask my dad. He would ask me to go clean out the garage, and he'd tell me exactly how to do it and exactly what he wanted, and he'd come out an hour later and that wasn't done, and I'd be working on something else. He goes, "What are you doing?" And I go, "Dad, I found a better way to do it. I'll get it done, but I have a better way to do it." And of course he would tell me, "I've been cleaning out garages since blah, blah, blah," right? And no, I had a better way, right? So I personally thrive in that environment, and we're finding that a lot of people do. They want to use both sides of their brain, and they don't want to just collect a paycheck. They want to have fun while they're solving a problem or meeting a challenge. They want to feel completely, absolutely engaged.
I agree. My wife and I homeschool our kids, and when they're fabulous kids, when we go out in public, they act like kids, just like all kids do. But because we homeschool, we have to, I don't know, we feel like we have to be a little bit higher, or people will label us as that homeschooling family. That's the way they work. That's what they do, because they're a homeschooling family. So we want to kind of raise the level of, no, we are that homeschooling family. So every now and then my wife would say, "Hey, you guys, please act normal." and then I said, no, let's switch that. Let's act extraordinary. Not just normal. Let's be extraordinary. So we started saying that to our kids. Instead of "please act normal," we'd say "please act extraordinary." And that's kind of how I feel with the same thing. Rather than our employees, we want you to be normal. No. Let's take the lid off and let you be extraordinary.
There you go. That is it exactly, Kevin. And here's what happens when you start to enable that social mindset. Then we stop being individuals. We stop being conformists. And we start sharing our ideas. We start sharing our knowledge. And we have a phrase in the book called OPEN, O-P-E-N, Ordinary Person, Extraordinary Network. And when you take the lid off, as you had said, and you start to become known as a collaborator, as a giver, as a sharer, other people want to hang out with you. They see the benefit that you're providing. They see the mutual beneficial nature of your relationship. They want to back. They want to start hanging out with you professionally, personally, right? So you've gone from being this individualist conformist in a cubicle somewhere to now, when you got a problem, you can raise your hand up and say, whoa, got a customer, got a hot one, here's the deal, what do we got? Give me something, right? And boom, we got a problem solved in 30 seconds, not 30 days, right? It's amazing. It's amazing what happens when we take that proverbial lid off and actually just start thinking.
Okay, so we have companies that are, I'll say, in the old mindset, and then there's a new mindset. How does a company switch from the old to the new?
Well, it's happening so many different ways. It's sometimes, you take a Virgin Atlantic, a Virgin, Industries, Richard Branson, it's a top-down. Ariana Huffington, Pitney Bowes, Lenovo, KLM, right? KLM took a top-down approach to this, and their social customer service team just booked an additional $25 million in business that they didn't have last year, right?
Wow.
$25 million.
Wow.
So sometimes it's top-down, but here's what we're seeing more and more. We're seeing middle out and bottom up. And we're seeing what Sean Murphy calls pockets of excellence. We'll take a small team of passionate people that are making a big difference, and the administrator, the manager, the CEO might go over to them and say, wow, how'd you do that? What just happened here? Your numbers are amazing. What'd you change? Right? And then people go, wow, okay, now you got my attention. Now I'm listening. Right?
Gotcha.
Customer service goes ways up. Sales go way up. Quotas are exceeded. Right? There's a new data out, for instance, that says salespeople who embrace social media are 6 times more likely to meet quota than those who have not yet embraced social media.
Really?
6 times, right? So if you're a salesman and you see everybody else is kicking your rear end on the sales floor, you're probably going to want to change. You're going to want to adapt, right? Or you're probably not going to be around much longer, at least with that organization in that role, right? So there's a little bit of a competitive spirit coming into play here too. Let's just say you're a middle manager and you want that promotion just like your peer over here to your right, but your peer over here to your right is doing really, really well with this social mindset, and they're coming up with all these great innovative ideas that customers love, and profits are up and sales are up and everything's going great, and your department's just sitting here like it was in 1994. You're probably going to want to change. So that's what Sean calls pockets of excellence, and they become mirrored, they become emulated, and it's taking over entire organizations, all starting with a little team of 6 or 8 people.
But that type of mindset cannot thrive, really, as far as I've seen, and correct me if you've seen differently, but that type of mindset cannot really thrive in the same organizational structure that we have today.
No. Eventually, it has to change.
Right. And you talk about that in your book as well. So what type of organizational structure, I guess I could ask this question a number of different ways, but what type of organizational structure helps the social mindset to grow and to prosper more than others?
Well, I think the easy answer, and it's probably the best answer still, is the word flatter. And I'm not a big fan of saying we have a flat organization, because frankly nobody even knows what that means, right? But
sure.
But let's just say that you're a great example here. We're in the Seattle area right now. Great example here is not 6 months ago, an aerospace company had 13 layers of management between the newest employee on the floor and the CEO.
Wow.
Right? 13 layers of management.
Incredible.
Right? So they realize that communication is at a standstill. Even the best ideas are getting just smothered in bureaucracy, and they lay off 14% of their workforce, and 90% of those are managers. Right? And,
wow, that's drastic.
So now they've gone from 13 layers of management to 5. So the newest intern is only five people away from the president of the company, and that's amazing. Now, we would never suggest that you just lay off that many people. This particular company took kind of an old school approach to the process. You know, that those managers represent a ton of experience and a ton of knowledge. So we would
Right.
never recommend you just start laying people off just to trim management layers. But that's the idea is let's remove any barrier to success. Let's remove any barrier to communication. And if that means you have less people with managers on their titles, so be it. If it means we work in small nano teams, right? Think of Ted Cornet, my co-author of the book. He loves the term nanocorps, right? Where you get, regardless of your title, regardless of your experience, you get the 6 people in a room that can solve that problem. And it doesn't matter what department they're from. It doesn't matter what their experience level is. Like I said, it's just getting the right people in the right room at the right time. And they may have never worked together before, but they come together to fix this one problem or to meet this one challenge. And after that challenge is met, they disband again, right? So even if you can't completely change your organizational structure, you can still promote, you can still enable these pockets of excellence and do amazing work. I'll give you, within that aerospace company, just a terrific example. One of the people there she needed 6 people on the production floor, in the clean room, to dramatically improve quality. Like, the clean rooms were being shut down all the time because they weren't meeting standards based on the contract. They were losing contracts based on this clean room issue. And she formed a band she called Untouchables. It didn't matter what the politics were. It didn't matter what the culture was. I have 6 people I know are going to be champions of our mission here in the clean room, and I'm going to treat them with respect. I'm going to open the trust door, and I'm going to let good things happen. And she's getting national attention now based on one small team of 6 people. She's getting national attention for the effort.
That's pretty neat. Wow. And then I assume that the clean room issues went away.
Yes.
They were all taken care of.
I would never say went away.
Well, all go away, sure.
Yeah. But
it's magic.
They stopped losing contracts, right? And they started showing real progress, right? And they started getting other people to go, you know what? We can do this. We can be better. We can do a better job. We got to help, right? Positivity spreads, right? And that's what's happened.
Good. Well, I wish we could just talk forever about this because this is wonderful, absolutely wonderful. But let me ask you, parting words. What challenge would you give to the listeners?
Well, I think when we see this monumental shift in how companies are run, and we think the social age is just as monumental as when we started leaving our farms for the factories, a long time ago. We think what we're seeing now, think about how many companies in America are actually building products. How many companies have completely left the manufacturing sector. Right. The world has completely changed. And I think for us to embrace that change from a business point of view, from a leadership point of view, from a personal point of view, we have to be willing to unlearn just about everything that we've learned, right? Everything we were taught in business school, everything our parents taught us. There's so much has changed now. It's not about being efficient. It's about being human. It's about being trustworthy. It's about learning how to trust people all over again when the industrial age just beat that out of us. So my challenge is to everybody is be willing to unlearn and to embrace new things and to just obliterate your comfort zones, because chances are those comfort zones are getting in your way.
Yep. In fact, I think that in this day, if we are comfortable, we should be uncomfortable. It should just be the opposite. We should be comfortable being uncomfortable.
I love that. I'm going to steal that. We should be comfortable being uncomfortable. I'm writing it down. I'll give you credit the first 3 times.
It's yours. Thank you so much for speaking with me and sharing your insights. I hope that the listeners will take them to heart because they are genius, and go look at your book, World Gone Social, and go take a look at Switch and Shift and be a regular reader of both of those. But thank you very much. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Kevin. This was fun.
Why spend 10 hours a day doing work you only tolerate? The more engaged your team is, the more productive they will be. These are the secrets to helping them love their work. Learn how to love your work and create an engaged workplace. Visit vinJones.com.